It's on the field of 68 on Stadium. Welcome, everybody, to Last Call. Over the next half hour, we're going to be taking your questions. We're going to be breaking down your thoughts. I'm John Fanta. We've got Chris Mack. We've got Tyler Hansborough here. This is a great new format that we're doing. We're breaking it up into 10-minute segments. We'll take your chat questions throughout. We've got producer Dagan here as well, and we have got a whole list of things for you to answer throughout the next half hour that you have submitted to us. And we're on Stadium. We're excited to be with Stadium this year. So let's get right to it. Troy Hook asks, who outside the top 25 will be the team no one wants to play in late February into March? Wow, really good question out of the hopper there. Who outside the top 25 will be the team no one wants to play in late February heading into March? Would you guys have someone? Do you want me to go first?
I'd say you mentioned before, John, and that is Memphis. You know, I think they've got a lot of talent. And I think that, Javon Quinterly's been around college basketball for a long time. I know them not getting DeAndre Williams hurt a little bit, but they got a chance to sort of be under the radar for most of the year. And then, obviously one near and dear to my heart would be Virginia. I don't think you ever want to play Virginia. I don't care beginning of the year, end of the year. That's a team that's not in the top 25. That's just the way they defend. It's like going to the dentist.
Hansborough.
I would say St. John's. I think Pitino's going to have his team applying pressure defensively, and I think the more he has time to coach his team, they're going to get better and better. And with his style up and down flow, it's going to wear teams, especially later on down the year. So I'd go with St. John's.
Interesting take there. The Red Storm are in action tomorrow in the Charleston Classic Opener, 1:30 Eastern Time against North Texas. They're only around a 3-point favorite in that game. It's an important game for them. It's the opener of that MTE. Houston's the best team in that event, and that's a big game for St. John's against the North Texas team that had a coaching change in the offseason. We'll see with Grant McCaslin now taking over at Texas Tech how that works out. I think my answer, I'm going to go with UCLA because I think as Mick Cronin is able to get that group to come together, I like that group to be able to be a team that by the time February rolls around, Dean Bona company I think that they'll be in sync. So I like UCLA's upside. And I'll tell you what, I really like TCU. I think TCU is getting underrated nationally again. We still have a team that with Avery Anderson coming in and impact transfer. I'm going to go with the Horned Frogs there. I'm still bullish on them. Let's head to question 2.
Hold on 1 second, John. I would also add Clemson. I tell you, I think that
great pick.
I really think that PJ Hall is a monster. I think he's going to be finally healthy. Obviously, getting Joe Girard from Syracuse, like he was just a terrific player. Brad's teams always defend. You got the kid Hunter. I think that they're not really being talked about a whole lot, and I could see them honestly challenging for the ACC title. Very, very underrated team. I'm sure because of what last year after they got off to such a great start. But I really like Clemson. I think they're going to have an opportunity to do some special things here. I wouldn't want to play them down the stretch.
All right, let's continue. Marcellus asks, if Providence wins against Kansas State and Miami, are they ranked? This is without a doubt in my mind, yes. Yes. They just beat Wisconsin, right? Anybody going to argue?
I don't know, John. I think it also depends if those other teams win. If teams win above them, then they're going to break in there. But that's a couple good wins if they can get them. I think Kim's doing a really good job, and there's a lot of excitement. Bryce Hopkins is one of the best players in the Big East, so I mean I can see them, getting 2 W's, and I think they'll be right there to be a top 25 team.
Hansborough?
I agree. I mean, these are 2 good teams, Kansas State and Miami. It's a big if right now, but yeah, it's, I wouldn't say that's out of the realm of possibility, to be honest with you. I think they probably should be ranked if they beat them.
I agree. To me, Miami's ranked. That's one of the better teams in the country. Kansas State is a team that could be ranked at some point in the season with what they were able to bring in the offseason. That's a group that I'll tell you what, I really like Jerome Tang's team. I think upside-wise, between Arthur Kaluma and Tyler Perry, I like that group's upside and ability to get better. That's a tough MTE down in the Bahamas. They're going to get tested down there. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I like the Friars. They look the part of a Big East dark horse because the fact is Jaden Pierre's taking that next step as a point guard. Devin Carter's a warrior, 2-way player that does it on both ends. Hopkins is big time, so for them. All right, here we go. Albert says, what do you guys think is everybody wants to know about rankings. What do you guys think is a fair ranking for Kentucky after last night? Tyler?
I think they're a top 50 team. They're young. They're talented. They can play with anybody, but can they finish? And I think as the season goes on, you'll see them improve and probably get a better ranking. And I know a lot of people are going to say top 50, you're crazy. But no, I think, they're a young team, and I still think they have a lot of growth to be had. So I wouldn't overreact too much because they played Kansas close. They didn't win the game, first of all. But I think that they can compete with anybody right now.
I'm sorry for laughing, okay? I'm sorry. But I didn't rank Kentucky in the preseason, and you guys should see my mentions. Holy cow, are those people – they are angry and just firing shots. I had them just outside the top 25. You're sitting here and saying top 50. 50. They better be top 50. They're Kentucky.
Well, I'm not going to just rank a team based off of, their history. I still think they're young. I mean, I want to see some improvement. Obviously, they made 12 threes last night. That's more threes than they had in one game all of last year. It's a huge improvement. Now, they did hemorrhage a lot of threes, but I will say that their outside shooting needs to be improved for really to get the respect they deserve from me. But I think they can compete with anybody.
Mac?
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Kansas, and Tyler dropped them from 17th in the country to 50th. So I'm not going to drop them that far. I really believe that Kentucky's a top 20 team.
Look, but you know what? He couldn't stand talk about them and praise them for long.
I hear you, but you're missing Bradshaw. You're missing Big Z, the foreign kid. You're missing Avonde. I mean, they've got some size that they weren't even able to put out on the floor against Kansas last night. I think they're easily a top 20 team. I think they're going to be up and down at times simply because they've got so many freshmen that they're relying upon. But those cats are talented. And the question was, what do you think is a fair ranking? I think it's fair to put them in the top 25, but I don't think they've earned much more than that. They've got to win those type of games, albeit that one is as tough as it gets. But they're going to have plenty on the schedule because they're Kentucky, and they're going to have those type of games on their schedule.
All right, we got more questions to come. The chat is loading up. We're loading up with it. This is the Field of 68. It's last call on Stadium, part of a whole new endeavor for us this year. Get in the chat, fire a question off to us. We will answer anything you got, from college basketball to the AFC North to what we're ordering at Applebee's. Last call's just beginning. Welcome back to Last Call on Stadium, the field of 68. We rotate right from After Dark into Last Call, a brand new 30-minute extra special show on Stadium, taking your questions. We're hearing from you. It's interactive. Tricky Trev, by the way, John Fanza, Chris Mack, Tyler Hansborough here with you. Tricky Trev asks, who's your second and third best teams in the Big Ten right now behind Purdue? Hansborough.
I still believe in Michigan State. I know that they've lost a few games, but I think that Michigan State, especially with Tyson Walker, I think he's going to keep them in a lot of games. And also, Tom Izzo always has his teams prepared for the tournament. They're going to win a lot of grinders in the Big Ten. And also, right now, I would say Michigan's playing as any good team. Can play with any team in the country right now. I think they've really shown some progress and. Yeah, Doug McDaniel, big-time guard for them, stepping up, making a lot of big-time plays. I think he's going to keep them in the game with anybody as well. So, yeah, I would go with Michigan State, Michigan, and Purdue.
Yeah, I think that, despite Michigan State dropping a couple, I think that, Coach Izzo is always going to have his team improve. The one thing I think they struggle with is they play so many smaller type guards or guards. I know Hogarth's a bigger guard, but those guys don't necessarily offensive rebound. It seems like he's only sending two to the glass, and that's not necessarily a Tom Izzo trademark type team. They're going to have to do it a little differently. I don't think they have much interior scoring. But I do think that Michigan State will be there. They're as well prepared as any team in the country. They're going to play their tails off. They're going to be gritty, and they're going to battle all the way throughout the Big Ten season. They'll be right there at the end. I also like Michigan, just like Tyler said, for all those same reasons. And then I like Indiana. I know they've struggled. I know they've had some close ones, but I do like the makeup of their team. I think they'll be a top third in the conference in the Big Ten. But right now, it's, to me, clearly Purdue far and away right now.
Yeah, for me, I'll go Purdue 1, Illinois 2, Michigan 3. Really like Michigan. Here's the thing. Maryland's got 2 losses. Michigan State's got multiple losses. It's early. Wisconsin has multiple losses. Those are supposed to be teams you were counting on. They are off to tough starts. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Brady asks, does Houston finish top 3 in the Big 12 this year? Cougars are in action tomorrow in Charleston Classic. They're going to be taking on Towson, and we'll see who they get after that. But does Houston finish in the top 3 of the Big 12, guys? Mac? First year.
I think if I had to put money on it, I would say yes. And I know that the Big 12, historically has like 8 or 9 teams battling for tournament bids right down to the very last week. But I don't think the Big 12 is quite what it's been. I think it's really good. We talked about it being a top 3 conference. I don't think that it's as good as it's been maybe the last 3 to 5 years. I think Baylor's a notch down. Obviously, Kansas is a terrific team, the best team in the country right now. I think Houston finishes 3rd. I really do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Houston will finish in the top 3 in the Big 12. I would say, Baylor's going to be right there with them. Kansas, obviously. But I don't think the Big 12 is as strong as it was last year. Obviously, I think Texas has some firepower as well, and also TCU can compete. But I would say Baylor will finish in the top 3. I would say that's a safe bet for me.
I agree.
At Houston, yeah.
I think Houston finishes in the top 3. I think Baylor could be right there. But I don't know. I think at the top of this league, that Texas could be there, but I like Houston more than I like Texas because I think that Houston's going to be a better defensive team. That's part of their DNA.
You like TCU.
I like, but not to finish in the top 3. I think TCU's getting undersold, as they normally do. TCU never gets the national love that they deserve because
Right.
they're in Fort Worth and their name's not Texas, or frankly, lately Houston. Honestly, Houston being great has maybe gotten us to not think more about how good TCU is. But Jamie Dixon, like, he is so freaking consistent in this sport. Every year he wins, and it's not like TCU was winning a ton before him.
No,
It,
no.
it worked.
And when he sort of got pushed out at Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh hasn't necessarily done much since he left. And you look at what TCU was doing before he got there, and now he's made them relevant. So Jamie's a great coach, very humble guy. He's not out in front. He's not doing all the interviews, and he's not that shiny brand new car. Man, his teams are good though.
Let's keep it rolling here. We're taking your questions. Let's turn to, it is Paulie, who asks about Oregon. Paulie wants to know what the ceiling is for Oregon this year. I'm going to admit to Paulie, I don't know about you guys. I have not watched them play this season. Now, in our defense, Paulie, it's early. They beat Georgia 82-71. They're in the Emerald Coast Classic. They could meet Alabama in that, either Alabama or Ohio State. So it'll be interesting to see when they get tested. Georgia's not projected to be a team, but they did win that game. But look, this is an Oregon team with they brought in some solid players. I mean, they went out and they bring in a guy by the name of Keyshawn Bartholomew. They've got Jackson Shelstead, who's come in. Shelstead's a guy who's highly touted as a freshman. And they're off to a 2-0 start. I mean, one thing with Dana Altman, Mac, they're always going to be a team that gets better as the year goes on.
They are, and and Folly Dante. I mean, I just remember him coming out of high school, and he's finally a senior. It seems like it was yesterday when I was watching him when he was on the circuit. He can really impact the game around the rim, and so when you got guys like that and the transfers that you mentioned. And then you have Dana Altman. I think you got a shot to, obviously be a tournament team and do some damage.
Any thoughts on Oregon, Tyler?
I think that Oregon's going to have to win some big-time games to, face a big-time opponent and get a win for me to really give them the recognition, because I haven't seen them play much. And I think I'm not the only one isolated here. I think that if they have get some wins and get on a little streak, then I'll think they'll get the credit they deserve. But I need to see more of Oregon.
And Folly Dante, to your point, Chris Mack, 16 points and 21 rebounds against Georgia. He was outstanding. And Jermaine Cuisinart, he shot 6 for 11 in that game. Cuisinart, a guy that, they're counting on. They're counting on it for him to play a big role on this team and be a leader as a 6'4" senior guard. I mean, they're old. Bartholomew, Cuisinart, they're old. Dante, they got experience. And honestly, Altman's fired up now. They've had a couple of rough years.
Yeah.
When you've had some tough years, you're fired up to change all of that complexion. All right, after this, the last calls of the night. Rapid fire questions. We got them next. Here we go. It's last call. The last call of the night. We've got your questions. Sean Fanta, Tyler Hansbrough, Chris Mack with you on Stadium, the Field of 68. It's our brand new last call for 30 minutes after dark. We love bringing it to you. Your questions, our answers. Here we go. Chris Mack, what's the ceiling for Xavier this year? Jaden asks.
I think the ceiling for Xavier is what the expectation is every year. I think that Sean expects them to be in the NCAA tournament. We've got a lot of new parts. I thought they battled against Purdue. Obviously losing Fremantle, losing Jerome Hunter hurt, but they got some young bigs. I thought their ability to shoot the three, as time goes on, those foreign guys are going to get a little bit more comfortable. But Sean's he's gonna get the most out of his team, and they've got a yeoman schedule. They got Houston coming up as well, Big East Big 12 challenge. But I think the ceiling for them is making the NCAA tournament and advancing.
All right. C. Papa asks. This is kind of an interesting one. So, Tyler, I don't know how familiar you are, but when St. John's doesn't play at the Garden, they typically have played the majority of their games at Carnesecca Arena, which is on campus in Queens. But they're playing more at the Garden this year. Yeah, right? What'd you say?
It's terrible.
So C. Papa asks, it is terrible. C. Papa asks, if Pitino really gets St. John's going, do they build a new arena or just play every game at MSG?
I think they play every game at MSG. It's gonna take a lot of time to build a new arena, and also it's Rick Pitino. Why wouldn't you go to the Garden? I don't think that. I think with Pitino and kind of how he does things, I think he'd want to be at the Garden. Also, it's an appeal for all the New York kids, especially the high school kids growing up to play in the Garden. So why not go to St. John's and be able to play at the Garden every other game?
The real estate in New York, the interest rates, you're not building an arena. I can tell you that. They go right to MSG. There's no better arena in the world, man. It's a special place, and I think he was fighting at the beginning of his tenure there, trying to get as many Big East home games as he could at the Garden. I don't blame him.
Well, they were concerned about money, but it's like you have to spend it to get it back in revenue and whatnot. Like, it's short-sighted to not play there. It's the best asset you have as a program.
Yeah, and you might not be able to play every game there in the beginning, but he's going to get it going. And when he does, that place is going to be rocking. They'll make even more money.
All right, here we go. In a game of 1-on-1 to 21, could I score against Tyler?
No. Next question.
Hey, Phantom, maybe now. I'm pretty. I'm not moving too well with this knee, so it depends on how your jump shot is.
Hey,
you'd also whip your ass in pickleball.
Yeah, right.
Pickleball, exactly. You're not scoring on me in pickleball. I'll tell you that right now, Phantom.
I watched the ping pong. You don't lose in ping pong either. I mean, but maybe Matt could get you in like pinball or some arcade game. He could get you in Pac-Man.
Yeah, maybe.
What'd you play growing up? Madden or Call of Duty or what were you playing?
I wish. Maybe Hansbrough did.
Yeah.
I didn't play
Madden. I didn't play video games. The only game I've ever played was just a little bit of Call of Duty. Yeah, man. I'm from the country. We didn't really play much video games growing up.
All right, quickly. Who wins the Maui? Kansas, Purdue, Marquette, Tennessee, Gonzaga, UCLA, Syracuse, Chaminade. Who's going to win the Maui?
Purdue.
You got Purdue. Tyler.
I'm going to go UCLA. And the reason I'm picking them is because it's an absolute dark horse, and it's going to shock a lot of people. But I like Mick Cronin. I think his teams are defensive lockdowns. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I don't want to pick the front runners. I'm tired of being a front runner on here. I'm going to go UCLA.
I'm going to go Tennessee. I like Tennessee. They get Syracuse in game one. I like that. All right, here we go. Last one. Jacob says, Mac, what's your go-to Applebee's order?
First of all, I don't go to Applebee's. We actually call it Crapplebee's, to be honest. I hope they don't sponsor this show. everything comes out of the freezer and they just microwave it. So I'm not a big Applebee's guy. But that's what Goodman sent me for my paycheck here at Field of 68.
Oh my God. They used to have an appetizer. I do eat at Applebee's, and there's obvious reasons that would show you why. And I'll tell you what, I used to love an appetizer that they had called the potato twister. It was awesome. It's this big potato chip with queso. It was money. But now boneless wings, quesadilla burger is my go-to, Hansborough.
Wow.
There you go. You don't have an Applebee's order. Toast of the night. A toast. I'm going to give a toast because we only have 20 seconds to New Jersey. Oh, Jesus. What is that? What are you doing? What is that? Pray for fans. Oh, come on, Zach. With Deshaun Watson stuff. Toast to Rutgers.
Toasting and praying for